to life. Oh, action. Oh, Jesus.
It's a joke.
Oh, you did.
I got a posture check.
Hello, everybody. If you've been waiting around, we are so sorry for the delay, but we are very excited to be coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia, where pretty much everybody was very surprised by a cold front that had us looking at 40 degree, which I think is 3 degrees Celsius the past couple days. Luckily, it's warming back up, so thank goodness. But yeah, we are coming to you live from KubeCon North America 2025. I'm Reese, and I am joined here by my co-host Sophia.
Hi.
And our first guest, Jacob.
Hello, my name is Jacob Aronoff. I'm a maintainer for, OpenTelemetry Operator, OpenTelemetry Helm Charts, OTel Injector, and I maintain a few random collector things, and I contribute to OpAmp, and I'm missing one. I can't remember.
I was wondering if we were going to have enough hands.
Yeah, I was like waiting for all 10, honestly.
No, if Josh Sareth were here, he's everywhere.
That's wild.
Every single group.
That's wild. And awesome at the same time.
No, it's very impressive. Talking with him, learned so much.
So that's how I feel talking to you all.
Agreed.
Honestly. Now, Jacob, you did a talk, or was it 2 talks?
One talk. So I gave a talk about 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago.
Cool.
Yeah, very fresh.
Yeah.
It was packed. It was like I was worried that this was my second time giving a talk. First talk that I gave was in Chicago 2 years ago.
Oh, nice.
And the room, we got a very low slot. Like it was like towards the end of the day on Thursday, I think. So it was a tougher day to give a talk. Mm-hmm. We had a solid audience. And for this one, I was worried that with the content we were doing, which was like introductory to OTel and Kubernetes, I always worry with these introduction ones. You know, it's like, is this going to be enough? Is it going to be too much? So my fear is that nobody shows up and I'm speaking to an empty room. This was the reverse, where it was a full room and people were standing in the room, and then people got turned away from the door.
Oh my gosh.
Which I was happily surprised by. Then I also we only reserved 5 minutes for questions at the end, because I was like, I don't know what questions people will have. Usually people aren't asking a ton of questions after. They'll come up to you later, but it's usually a Q&A section does not last very long. So they go 5 minutes for questions, that's fine. We do questions. There's a line of 15 people waiting to ask questions. I was and it kept growing and growing. We stayed after for another 30 minutes just answering questions.
Interesting. Yeah. What level of questions, was it more people who are newer to the topic, or people who are asking more stage 2 kind of questions?
Huge range. So it was we had some people who were, very introductory level, just I'm getting my bearings here. How does this part of it work? What's the deal with Prometheus and OTel, and what do you use for a backend? That's a solid starter question. And then other people came in, they were I've been using this chart for the past year, and there's this one thing that I want to be able to do, and when are you going to do the work to enable that, and how can we architect this? Big range, very big range. And each one was a different part of the area.
Okay.
That's so cool.
Very, very cool and very surprising. I'm always happy to, because I think as a maintainer, it's we get people who come to us with issues on GitHub, and it's you'll get someone complaining on a GitHub issue, or hey, this thing broke, the most recent release broke me. What are we doing about that?
You broke me.
Broke me.
But no one's, broke their spirit. I've had releases break my spirit.
I feel that.
But the real thing is we don't get positive feedback. We don't get a lot of questions, because realistically, most people are asking ChatGPT or going on Stack Overflow.
Yeah.
It's they're not bringing the questions to us. So we don't really hear or understand what usage is. I mean, it's kind of benefit and the curse of open source is that like we don't necessarily get that user feedback directly. It's why like I love what you all do, because getting the user feedback is one of the most valuable things to the community. Like in order for us to push forward, we need to know what isn't working right now, where people just don't see the effort. I hosted a meetup in New York last month, 2 months ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And that was eye-opening because it was like, wow, people are really using these things, and things that I feel like I've talked about so many times are still not known. You know, and
Yeah.
it's like I'll mention like how many people know what like the target allocator is in a show of hands, and nobody raised their hand in a room of like 40 senior SREs. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Would anybody like it if you could do distributed, sharded Prometheus scraping? And everybody raises their hand, and I'm like, well, we have that. Like, it's done. It's there. You can use it. It's been a thing for a few years. So I guess all to say, the community there's still things for people to learn about the vast ecosystem that we have here.
Yeah. I think a common theme just in general is people not being aware of, different capabilities and features. And on the end user side too, it is a bit of a challenge because we feel like we're talking about it, at our work and in the OTel community. And then, like you said, you have all these pockets of people who don't know, and we're trying to figure out where are they going for their views? How can we make them aware of all these cool things that are happening? So one thing we started doing is the What's New in OTel segment, which we just had our first one a month ago or so. And so we're hoping to have something we can point people to.
Of course, yeah.
Well, you mentioned the injector.
I did.
Tell us more about it.
Please do.
So I am I'm a maintainer for it, but I'm mostly just doing reviewing because this is actually a joint effort between Splunk and Dash Zero. Both of them have already written their own injectors for auto instrumentation.
Ah, right.
And they're essentially donating a merge of both of those projects to the project, to OTel. And Dash Zero is already running, call it a alpha version of this for their customers, sort of just testing out that everything is working the way that we need it to. A lot of really random edges here. Interestingly enough, this does introduce a new language to OTel, which is exciting. It's very rare for us to not use a language in a project that is meant to instrument all languages, right?
Right.
And we are now using Zig in the project.
Zig?
Zig. It is a fun language that is sort of a merge between Go, Rust, C++, and C.
Super fun.
So the real value of it is it doesn't require a lot of core Linux dependencies. So glibc is the one that we really think about a lot. If you're on AWS, something that I've been bitten by is not all of the nodes have glibc, and so when you're trying to do injection, say you're trying to run a load balancer like Istio or Envoy, Istio is similarly injected like we inject auto instrumentation, and that will just not work. It used to not work. I think they've changed this, but it used to not work on certain types of AWS nodes. So we have that same issue because we're trying to inject into all of these different environments. So Zig is pre-built with a bunch of these C libraries, but from scratch, and part of its standard library, and not based on anything existing, so it has all of its own dependencies. So the benefit of this injector project is that we're going to be able to really meet users where they're at without needing to know a ton about their environment. And that's the real problem today.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting project. I think we're a few months away from it being alpha beta. Other people are on the release timeline. Ted Young is thinking a lot about the release timeline there. But all to be seen.
TBD, y'all.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What other parts of, whether it's something you're working on or not working on directly that you are excited about?
That's a good question. I think that the biggest thing for the project right now that everybody cares about is stability. right? I think that we're trying to get to the place where users can reliably get, a new update without them needing to do any configuration changes, without needing to worry about components being deprecated, things like that, right? I talked to, at that meetup in New York, I talked to a developer at a major bank who was, they've developed all of their own custom components for the collector. And so every time that we've been doing these reworkings of the collector's architecture, they need to then refactor a bunch of their code as well. And after a few months, you lose track of all of these updates, so then it becomes like a weeks-long project to keep up to date, and then you have to do that. Their release cycle is every quarter, right? It gets a lot to manage and a lot to update. So for the users, I think what people really want to see is that level of maturity and stability, so that we can get to that graduated status with the CNCF, which would be huge. I mean, that would be massive for the project to have. I think it would really, our adoption already has been really high. I think that's when we become to the next level, right?
Can you explain a little bit for those of us less familiar with like CNCF stages, like what going from incubating project to graduated means?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not the best person. I can tell you what I know. I'm definitely not the person in charge of this. There are people who are far more competent in the stability part of this governance than I.
Yeah.
So I will speak on only what I know.
We trust you, Jacob.
That's all we're asking for.
So right now we're incubating, as you said. An incubating project is relatively lenient in terms of its standards. There are standards, but graduation is really strict, I would say, for good reason, right? Like, you want to be sure that when you are considered a graduated project, you have a healthy community, which we definitely do.
For sure.
You have stability guarantees, which is like the main thing we're working towards. And lastly, adoption. So adoption has to be at a certain amount of companies. You have to have testimonials from those companies about how the project has been helpful. That's another thing that we have plenty of. So now it really just comes down to stability. And stability, you can think of Kubernetes as the example here. Kubernetes is, the first graduated project. I imagine it's the first one. Maybe someone beat them to it.
Yeah.
But you never know. But essentially, every time that Kubernetes improves their posture in security and reliability, release stability, anything like that, it raises the bar for everybody else to continue to improve. And so as we are getting towards stability, Kubernetes is chugging along, really positively and improving their posture constantly. So it's up to us to not only meet where we started for our graduation criterion, but also to continue building towards that. So that means that you're going to see more security features, like much more security guarantees, which is going to be very helpful for enterprises. Mm-hmm. You're going to hear more about quarterly releases rather than the sort of disparate release calendar that we have today.
Yeah.
You'll hear more about documentation, which is also going to be huge. So later, when Diana comes on, I assume Diana will be talking about some localization efforts with documentation.
Yes.
That is super, super valuable, right? All of that is going to get us to that graduation phase. It's just time. It's time and effort, and we have a dedicated group of people who want to see this happen and are spending, all of our time at all of these large companies trying to make that happen. It's very exciting.
Awesome.
That is very exciting.
Yeah.
And if you are yourself an OpenTelemetry end user and your company is using OTel in production, and you're willing to share your story, we would love to have your story as part of our legacy.
Our catalog.
Yeah, so so if you would like to help graduate the project and help take it to the next level, definitely reach out to us. We'll have it in the show notes after this, but yeah, it's pretty easy. As long as you remember us, CNCF Slack, you can find us at OTel-SIG-end-user.
Ooh,
I think that's all the dashes.
good.
It'll be.
I thought we were at -0.
Oh, no, we're at like -5. 5 million dashes.
And similarly, if anybody somebody wants to help out with documentation, documentation is one of the best ways to contribute to the project. It is so valuable. We had somebody for the operator group contribute a whole bit of documentation for the target allocator. And it was so well done. Adriana did this as well. Super helpful.
Nice.
And it has been such a resource for me to be able to point users that come into our Slack, come into our SIG meetings, to just say, hey, you have a question about this. We have a full document answering everything that you might need to know about it. That has been such a way off. It's lovely. So great way to contribute and get started. Doesn't require writing code. Requires
just refactoring,
asking questions, and writing a bunch of stuff down. Super valuable.
Yeah, and I can confirm that everyone that I've met in the local community is super helpful. Anything you can take on and be responsible for, like documentation, that's something that you're taking off their plate. So I know they're happy to help you, and it's also cool to see your work on an official website.
Yeah, like definitely join the communication SIG for that. I'm currently in it, and we're working on a lot of refactoring of the documentation, like just like the early stages. Since I'm more of a beginner with OpenTelemetry and everything, I've been working on kind of refactoring those beginner level documentations.
Yeah.
So like it's been really helpful getting people like acquainted with that. And localization efforts too. Like I know Lisa is working on a lot of localization efforts, so yeah, it'll help.
Super helpful, and the beginner stuff especially. I mean, again, from the talk today, I think it was so useful to learn where people are at in their implementation journeys.
Right.
We do have people that really need reference architectures, a ton of code examples, right?
Right.
These things help project adoption, but they also make it so that users actually are delighted by the experience, right? And ultimately, that's what I think we all want to see, and that's what users want. Like, you want to be able to install OTel wherever you need it, and to not have to scour the internet to figure out how to make it work, right?
Absolutely.
And different companies have so many different needs, and so getting started is always going to be the most important thing for us to really nail. I think the next thing that I heard from when I did the event in New York is reference architectures and showing how we can do OTel in all of these various environments so that people can have some code samples to copy from, some architectures to design around. I was just talking with an engineer at Mongo, and they are really interested in understanding how to do various trace sampling architectures, right?
Oh,
Stuff where we
nice.
could really have like a whole, as you said, catalog of these architectures to show people. And all of our companies, like when I was at Lightstep, we had all of these architectures internally that we would post blog posts about to share. We have a lot of companies that are using OTel as part of the ingestion path as well, which involves a lot of this architectural work. Similarly, a lot of companies are contributors to OTel also are obviously using the tooling themselves for their own company's observability. We should reach out to the people who are doing that and try to publish what are the reference architectures that OTel maintainers use ourselves, right? I think that would be really useful for people who are trying to implement these tools right now.
Absolutely.
That's been a big topic for sure. Are we planning to host them like in a repository or like on the docs site directly?
Oh,
Man, I think that's a little
the doc sites would be the best. Yeah.
I think we have documentation in a few places, the operator group, and I think the idea of everything being the doc site is going to be the way to go.
Right.
I think centralizing it and making sure that it's well organized, which is a lot of the work that you're doing, super valuable.
Of course.
But I think it needs to be there, right? Right now, I think it exists on a few different company blogs, in a few different companies' heads.
Yeah, very scattered.
Yeah.
Bringing that together, I think, would be really, really valuable.
Everyone agrees, let's do it.
Yeah.
Right. There's so many companies like contributing.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a bunch of references that people in our community could use.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so many people are so friendly, right? Like, I think I come back to that. Like, going to the OTel booth, we've had so many people who've never come up to us before and are just asking great questions.
Yeah.
And we have so many people who just, we hang out there because we love to talk to people about this. It's rare that you get to have this level of engagement with end users, right? that direct type of engagement is so valuable. And so people coming by has been one of my favorite experiences at the conference. I mean, it always is. It's like the reason that I love to come to these is just getting to talk to people, hearing people's problems, and like digging in. Because then it helps us plan what I need to do for the next 2 years, right? How do I take that user feedback and take action on it?
What, during your time here at KubeCon, like from the audience questions that you had at your talk and people who come through the OpenTelemetry Observatory, are you seeing any like general trends as to like what people are leaning toward or needing more help with, or?
Yeah, so I'd say the main thing that is of concern to me is around op-amp, which has been getting there were a lot of talks on op-amp this KubeCon. I don't know if we've noticed that, but there were at least 4 that mentioned it, which is a lot.
Could you explain that a little bit more
yes,
for us? No, nothing. No, sorry. We're slowing down a little bit.
Yeah. So OpAmp is the Open Agent Management Protocol, part of the OTel project, but is also designed to be, in the same way that OTel is very vendor neutral, it's neutral to the agents as well. So it's not just for the collector necessarily, it could be for a lot of different agents out there. The goal of the protocol is to enable things like component status reporting, health reporting, and remote configuration. And remote configuration is definitely the talk of the town, is what I would say.
Yeah, okay, very cool.
And so in that vein, what it sounds like users really want is a way to dynamically update what the collector can do, what the SDKs can do in real time. And that's challenging. The way that the collector was designed was never really with remote configuration in mind. There are ways to reload the process, like we can actually go in and restart the process from the collector binary, like you can just do that.
Right.
But it's different than remote config. What users really want is a way to push a rule to a collector, and the collector accepts it and continues going.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what a company like BindPlane has already built. And so what we want to do is take a lot of the lessons from what BindPlane has been successful with, and obviously we're working with them as well. They are big contributors to OpAmp. The idea is that we work all together to improve the collector's posture here and improve the SDKs as well, so that we can actually realize this vision that people can dynamically update their configurations wherever they might be. But it's challenging. I mean, that's like a really tough topic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the companies in OTel have done this work beyond BindPlane before. Elastic comes to mind. They have their own protocol.
I work there.
Oh, yeah. So, Elastic has their own protocol for doing remote configuration already.
Okay.
We've talked with a few of their maintainers, and there's definitely some room for some good collaboration that we've talked about there.
Awesome,
so,
yeah.
I think it's all to be seen, but this is definitely the thing that we hear a lot about. The thing that I hear a lot about on the operator side is in Kubernetes, how can I do, call it not just remote configuration, but layered configuration. So what this means is how can I make it so that if I'm running in an enterprise company and I'm in a multi-tenant environment, I want like a basic collector overlay. I want my teams to be able to overlay different pieces of config on top of that collector for their needs.
Right.
It's a really complicated topic. It's really challenging.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. And the thing that I sort of struggle with is how do we make this extensible and configurable, but also simple to understand. The problem with this is that it starts getting into a lot of moving parts. And as soon as you start to introduce more moving parts is when complexity and usually reliability complexity increases and reliability decreases. Right? You need consistency. And more moving parts will produce that. It's sort of that there's a great quote in reliability that I love. It's the most reliable system is the one that you release. Right? Do we know this quote? Basically, I'm totally botching it right now.
Good enough. No, I hear it.
And the idea is that the most reliable system is the one that doesn't exist.
Right.
Because it's always achieving its goal.
Of not existing.
And so if you want to really improve the reliability of the service, you delete it. because then you don't have to care. Then it's at 100% because it's always giving you the same answers, which is nothing.
Yeah.
Is the trick.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Really funny, right?
Really good.
Oh, weird. Sorry, I think I did.
That's
Oh,
okay.
sorry,
I
yeah.
did not explain it well.
No, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Yeah.
Someone, I'll say that to, I don't know, someone at the OTel booth, and they'll be like, you totally messed that up.
You know what? We'll have the correct quote in the show notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Jacob, for spending some time with us.
Thank you, Jacob.
We are going to bring on our next guest, Diana,
Yes.
in a moment. And in the meantime, I really want to show off this baseball jersey
Looks really good.
that our friends at Honeycomb have been kind enough to sponsor for the OTel community maintainers. Thank you, especially to Austin Parker, for the design. I would stand up and show the back. It says the number 11, which actually, I don't know why it says 11. I'm gonna have to ask
Ollie?
Austin about
Like,
that.
there we are.
You might be onto something there. But yeah, it says maintainer on the back. We'll have some pictures, hopefully, to show you. But yeah, you've got the logo over here.
It's very
and it says OpenTelemetry across the front. Very, very snazzy, very sharp. Yeah, and it also comes in black, which I had the option, but I was like, the client looks sharp.
Yeah.
And also you can see the blue and the yellow very clearly. So yeah, just wanted to show you a little bit of conference fashion. And then when we get our second guest, Diana, set up, I also want Sophie to show you her nails because they're amazing.
Oh,
And,
yes. I don't know how close I
I
can get.
think, yeah. And
Amazing.
like I said, we had a cool friend here. I'm very excited that it's warmer today, so that's why we're able to,
Very
not
nice.
have a bunch of layers on right now. But yeah, I brought my winter puffy out. It was a little intense, but we made it through, and we are now day 2 of the main event. With 1 more day to go, and
Yep.
I hope everyone is doing well.
Staying hydrated.
Staying hydrated is so hard to do.
Yes.
And important. And yeah, I think we're ready to speak to our next guest, Diana.
Yes. Awesome.
Diana, welcome.
Welcome.
And
Thank you guys.
big congratulations on winning the OpenTelemetry Community Star 2025. She was one of several winners. The only woman I would like to point out, but that's why it's so important to have this representation. Diana, can you please introduce yourself and also please show us your earrings?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, those are gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry. Continue.
And feel free to like hold up your back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna treasure it. I'm gonna bring it back home, sleep with it by my but yeah, I'm Diana. I'm a developer experience engineer, parametrics, and I worked all my life in engineering. In observability, in the last couple of 4 or 5 years, and I discovered I really like going and explaining things to the community. So I had a chance a couple of years back to be a speaker on one of the first conferences I've ever been in my life. I was super nervous, but I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And I saw so many women on stage giving talks that I got immediately motivated to do more.
Of course.
So I kind of did that in parallel for 2 years. And actually last year, I was hearing so much about OpenTelemetry that I said I want to get involved. I want to do something. And I got lucky because in the same moment when I thought about it, Linux Foundation was we are looking for observability people. We are looking for SIGs. Let's get involved. We want to create the first OpenTelemetry exam. So that is this all the people can take it and learn fundamentals. I got in, so it was my first start with the documentation, creating questions, reviewing questions about the exam, and that took several months until this year 2025 when it was finally published. So that was for me the kick towards open source, CNCF. I never heard about, I never worked with it before. And slowly I kind of mentally I was thinking, okay, I'm going to Sari, I'm working observability things. How about I'm going to do a POC of OpenTelemetry in my company? So that was like for my current company actually. It was like really interesting because I went like from explaining OpenTelemetry to the entire company, getting software engineers involved. Then we started instrumenting some things in like a couple of SDKs, testing everything. Explaining everything. We didn't get to it in production, so that was like the company's decision back then. But that was like a really, really cool experience that I've been talking about just in one of my talks and explaining about the real use cases and why companies, some particular companies that to be honest are not super big, they have like limited resources or engineers that have limited time. It doesn't take 2 weeks to build to integrate OpenTelemetry in production. It takes a lot more than that. And you need to understand how it works, why, etc. You need to be involved in the community. So for me that was like a very, very good experience. Also like I really understand like what OpenTelemetry needs, like what they need to do. So at the same time I said, okay, so I'm really sorry. I wanted to play with OpenTelemetry in production. I wanted to do so many cool things and start doing those code contributions.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. So then I thought about myself, okay, but if right now I'm all alone and I still want to contribute, how can I do it? And I saw the documentation, I saw this group called localization, so we're translating documents in different languages.
Oh, nice. Of course.
And I thought, that's interesting. That's something that I could do in my own free time. I don't need, like company time. I can get involved. So it was really, really nice. I got in touch with the same community I was starting to build. And they said, okay, yeah, get involved, start something. Do some translations. I started contributing like this, with my first PR, my first translations in Spanish. And this is great. And this is how I started to go slowly into that direction.
Diana, can you, so localization, the project localization just refers to translating the documentation to different languages?
Exactly, yeah. These are, okay, there are maybe a bit more other terms around localization. So it's not necessarily only the technical terms or the tech writing part, but there are like also like how you're gonna automate some CI, how you're gonna automate specific let's say pipelines in documentation, right?
Right.
So it can also be that, and also it's about how are you communicating a specific message in a language, right?
Right.
Basically the interpretation of concepts and terms and terminology in other languages. So I think that's how I see it at least.
I think you mentioned Spanish. Are you involved with other languages? And can you also tell us like what other languages are being are part of the project right now?
So back when I got involved, actually at the beginning of this year, Spanish was available, obviously English, French, I think Japanese.
Yes.
And that was either that time, right? So from the beginning of the year up to now, I think 3 more languages emerged. So 3 more communities. I know for sure Bengali.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's like the first one, so they really got together and they started to contribute more and more, so they feel like their own little community.
Yeah.
Ukrainian, that's popped up recently, so I know for sure there will be more contributors. So somebody came with the idea and they started to do that. And I started for my own language, Romanian, I'm native Romanian. I started like a couple of months back and I said, I think it's an amazing opportunity for my language to be represented and for developers back home to understand a bit, in our language, what's OpenTelemetry, how they can contribute. So from that perspective, it was like, it is a really nice community feeling to get started.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. So like, What is the hardest thing about localization that you find when you do that kind of work?
Yeah, I think definitely translating specific terms into your own language or in that particular language, but giving it the flavor or giving it the nice touch that really gets the essence, so it doesn't have to sound like a very dry terminology,
Right.
And that really captures the essence of the meaning. So, for example, I don't know if you translate really literally a word from English into another language, it might sound a bit weird. So you have to also, does it sound really like this in that language?
Right.
Do I have to modify it a bit? Do I have to give it a nice ring to it so people get it? And
Right.
it's kind of people understand it immediately and they want to use it, right? So I think that's the difficult part. And also the difficult part is that there are many languages that adopt technical terms directly in English, right?
Right.
And when you want to translate it in that language, you find the appropriate meaning is okay, I know nobody uses that word in my language, and they always do something in English, right?
Yeah.
It's should I use that people get it immediately? It doesn't sound strange. So yeah, those are the words, basically.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Is there a way or to kind of see, the rate of adoption or involvement from the communities that now have these translations available?
In terms of metrics or in terms of adoption, I think that we are kind of primitive. I think that you need to correlate it a bit with a cloud native event or with some type of local community that you could speak about it on site, right?
Right.
Or at least make some noise back home, for example, and say, look, we are starting this, we are doing this, we need more contributors, we need, the people from the local communities. So that engagement is very much needed, whether online or on site. So for me, for example, when I just started this with Romanian, I started going to people I contributed before or knew from events.
Yeah.
And I'm also an organizer of College Days Romania. I went there and said, hey, can you put it, can you promote it? It's we are actually entitling our language to be heard in the OpenTelemetry community.
Right.
And I really jumped into it and I'm yeah, for sure, let's do it. And other people started and it's really nice. It's really nice to do that.
It's very cool.
I think as native English speakers, we get so used to everything being
To English. Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of non-native English speakers, they usually speak multiple languages, and so I think it's really impressive and awesome the work that y'all are doing.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and also I think down the line people get motivated not only because of localization, but they start thinking, okay, do I like open source? Should I do something else, maybe in another project? Does it help me in my work or my projects or whatever I'm doing? And I think this is how I practically promoted it to my community. I said, look, if you guys need to say you are doing an open source project as you're a contributor, if your employer needs you to have this experience, or maybe you want to go to a conference and talk about it. So all these are very, very nice to have, on your CV. And from different age groups, they're very useful for university or for later on in their career.
Right.
And I think it's really important to keep motivating the people, because it can be sometimes really hard, start contributing in your free time or maybe do a PR, remind yourself that you're gonna do a meet or something like that. It's not a bit boring. But if you think that you have an objective down the line, and you're to yourself, this will be a nice project to have.
Yeah.
It's for example, later on, I was a contributor to OpenTelemetry.
Yeah.
That's how I started, and then I did something else afterwards. I think this motivates them a lot more.
kind of like a gateway project into contributing to open source.
Exactly.
A little bit.
And I always keep telling them, look, I didn't necessarily start with localization, and I'm for sure not going to stop here. I'll definitely keep going on. For example, being an engineer, I still like doing engineering work.
Oh yeah.
And I want to get involved in the code part as well, because I've been keeping an eye on everything that's happening, talking with the communities. Like there are many things that for sure my company or other people will definitely find useful. So yeah, one project or one SIG is not enough.
Right.
You're going to jump into something else at some point, and then the community, especially in the observability, is really tight, and they keep talking about kind of the same issues over and over again.
Yeah.
So just recently, talking about OpenTelemetry, then I heard about the same kind of issues in Kubernetes. So I'm kind of like went back and forth, but I'm kind of like struggling with similar issues. So I think it's very good to keep an open mind and an open heart and keep going. For me, at least personally, this is what motivates me going forward. That you can diversify your contributions, not stop, and you always find something useful.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then kind of pivoting a little bit, I would love to know what you're looking forward to in the coming year for OTel. Like, what are you excited about? What kind of trends you're seeing in terms of like implementation? Anything that has stuck out to you?
Yeah, for sure. So, just like in the last couple of weeks, being to like specific events, I saw lots of interesting talks about OpenTelemetry Beaver,
Right.
obviously Projector, and I think these are like a couple of two SIGs that are really interesting at the moment. So the instrumentation part, semantic conventions, etc. And also the fact that end users need a lot more best practices. So I think people come to me, users come to me at a talk and say like, oh, but we don't know how to do all this instrumentation, or we don't know like which attributes to add. We don't know like what's the basic stuff we can implement. Like, can you add some like best practices? Can you, kind of like tell us, like what would be like the best starting point, the onboarding, let's say in this case. And I've been hearing kind of like the same thing in Kubernetes community, and for me, for OpenTelemetry down the line, I think it's all about end users, which with a lot more accent on what the end user really wants.
Yeah.
What helps them down the line, get them more involved, also start then, to contribute,
Like get them in. Yeah.
Like, I know that you're complaining, but tell us more about, your use cases.
Right.
The ball rolling about one of these, and it will help us both ways, right?
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. I just wanted to know, you said that you wanted to get involved in more of the engineering side, the coding side. Is there somewhere specifically that you're looking forward to, or somewhere specifically that you would like to work in? Like anything exciting to you specifically?
Yeah. For instance, I'm very interested in the Weaver part. And we were
Can you explain it a little bit to us?
Yeah, well, I that's why I don't know.
No, right, you're getting involved.
I've been speaking just in the last couple of weeks with code maintainers and people that got involved, and it's all the idea about the semantic convention and around it. And although I'm not sure like how they are implementing it, like practically, it's something that I want to do is that I actually stop from going to so many events, take a pause, breathe, open my laptop, look at the GitHub, try to to do stuff like this. So I think it needs a bit of time. It needs a bit of quiet time or me time, and spend some time also with my team and go through the workflow and see what we can do.
Right.
It's definitely not a weekend project, but yeah, so much going on that I need to get up to it.
That's awesome. I love it. Really cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Diana.
Yeah, Thank
it was
you.
a pleasure. Congratulations again on your
Yes.
Community Star Award. It is so cute. And thank you so much, Sophia, for being my co-host.
Yes, thank you so much, Reese, for being the host.
Oh.
You're amazing. Our co-host. Co-host.
Yeah, we hope to see you at a future KubeCon soon. 2026, Amsterdam in EU, and Salt Lake City for next year. And we'll have something in the show notes, so check it out there, and talk to us if you would like to.
Please.
See you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.